Good afternoon. It is Friday, November 20th, 2020. This is a virtual regular meeting of the Commissioners of Rehoboth Beach. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 2:00 p.m. I'd like to start off with roll call of the Commissioners. Commissioner Richard Byrne.
Here.
Commissioner Susan Gay.
Here.
Commissioner Patrick Gossett.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Stranowski.
Here.
Commissioner Jay Legree.
Here.
Commissioner Pat Caluzzi.
Here.
And Commissioner Stan Mills. We have a quorum so that we can formally conduct business. Thank you. I'd also like to recognize in the room with me in attending today is City Manager Sharon Lynn and City Solicitor Glenn Mandalis, as well as some additional city staff to support our meeting. Thank you all for being here. I would like to note that the only bit of correspondence received was not related to the agenda, so there is no correspondence related to the agenda items. I would like to share with you one bit of correspondence was from Sussex Public House relating to the permit of compliance. He withdrew his application. He's going to kind of change what they're asking for and expects to do that administratively. So that is off our plate for now. I'd like to, as I usually do, identify the registered speakers. The speakers for today are will be called on after each agenda topic has been discussed by the mayor and commissioners as appropriate. We have registered speakers Carol Everhart, Dan Slagle, and Greer Manival, both from Main Street. Carol Everhart from the Rehoboth Beach, Dewey Beach Chamber of Commerce. Walter Brittingham, citizen. Rick Perry, citizen. And Jeffrey Trunzo, new chair of the Planning Commission. So thank you all for everybody being here. I would like to share with you, if you haven't read all the meeting instructions lately, I'd encourage you to go back and do that. Starting with this meeting, we have a new protocol for registering deadline to be able to speak. If you recall, up till today, the registration deadline for the public to be able to speak was 2 full business days prior to the meeting, and I have cut that to 24-hour deadline prior to a meeting. And that will be applicable to all committees, commissions, and boards. So that's something new, and that should benefit the public by shortening the deadline for registering to speak. With that, we're going to go to the approval of minutes. We have, despite what's on the agenda, amended agenda, that we have the following special meeting minutes to approve: October 27th, October 29th, November 5th, special meeting, November 9th, November 12th. Those are all 2020. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of meetings for the special meeting. And we have one from November 5th, 2020, that's an executive meeting. So that's 6 sets of minutes to approve. Does anybody have any changes to any of those? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve those 6 sets of minutes as presented and noted.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, you've got to learn to unmute yourself quicker. We have a motion and a second to approve the 6 sets of minutes that I articulated earlier. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Those opposed signify by saying no. And those 6 sets of minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you very much. With that, we're going to go to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have one street expenditure to Delmarva Power in the amount of $9,438.34 for streetlights.
Mayor, I move
think,
approval.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Sarnowski?
Mayor, I move approval for the street aid expenditure in the amount of $9,438.34.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second from Pat Paluzzi. We have a motion and a second to approve Delmarva Power's invoice in the amount of $9,438.34 for streetlights. All those approving signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say no. And the motion is approved unanimously to authorize city manager to pay that bill. Thank you very much. With that, we'll go to the city solicitor's report.
Mayor, I have a few.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have some more?
I have a few more, items.
We'll go back to the city manager. My apologies.
No, thank you. The Grove Park Canal access dock, is in its final stages, and there will be a final inspection, scheduled for the canal dock on December 3rd. The, LRCIA has been invited to participate, and they'll be there along with city staff. The Christmas tree was delivered this week. We have a very nice tree this year, thanks to Jerry Owens for generously donating the tree this year. And the tree was delivered in the bandstand with the help from John L. Briggs and Company, George Plummer and Son, the team from Delmarva Power, and of course our city streets department, who's in the process of decorating the tree. We encourage all visitors and citizens to enjoy the holiday spirit our hardworking businesses provide, and beginning on Black Friday, November 27th, next Friday, and continuing throughout the weekend, holiday music will accompany everyone's walk through our bandstand plaza and the adjoining businesses. As mentioned before, we have a Toys for Tots program. We're accepting toy donations in the Rehoboth Beach Police Department lobby through December 22nd for the Toys for Tots collection. And next week being Thanksgiving, City Hall offices will be closed both Thursday and Friday. There will be no residential trash pickup on Thanksgiving Day. Citywide trash pickup will be on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, November 27th. I'm very proud and happy to report that several members of our city staff graduated from the Delaware Municipal Supervisory Management Academy this past Wednesday. The academy was hosted by Wilmington University. It took place over 8 weeks and was comprised of 8 3-hour course modules that covered topics ranging from the fundamentals of successful supervisors to strategic planning and budgeting. The Assistant Building Inspector, Matthew Janis, soon to be the Chief Building Inspector, participated, as well as the Parking Supervisor, June Embert, County Supervisor, Vicki Hatton, and the Fleet Manager for our fleet, Art Farringer. They successfully completed the academy, and they've earned a certification, as well as 3 Wilmington University undergraduate credits. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope that you would congratulate those members.
Yes.
On behalf of the mayor and commissioners formally for us. Thank you very much.
Mayor, I have a question for the city
Commissioner
manager.
Gay?
Yeah. City manager, I just have a question. I got a question from a member of the public the other day asking about the status of the pedestrian signage. And I looked it up, and it, we had approved it about 8 weeks ago, and I just wasn't sure if that was imminent or what.
Yes, we are receiving
Pieces of that signage. I think the poles are the only thing that are left remaining. And then when we have everything complete, they'll be installed.
Okay, thanks.
Well,
Very good. Anything else? If not, we'll move on the agenda. We've got city solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things on pending litigation. The Knights of Columbus case, that's the one dealing with the crash down by the bandstand. We filed last week our brief in opposition to motion for a preliminary injunction. Next, the plaintiff will file their reply brief, and that will be submitted entirely to the court for a decision. This is not a decision on the overall case, but just on a preliminary injunction motion, and that motion seeks to enjoin the city, stop the city from denying the request to put a creche at the bandstand this year. As you know, you all adopted a policy for 2021 relating to holiday displays. The second matter is Beach Walk. This, as you recall, we're on motions for summary judgment in that case. The case has evolved into a vested rights case, and the question is whether the ordinance permitting only one dwelling per lot applies to Beach Walk or not. They've made a vested rights argument, arguing that the that the ordinance does not apply to them, and they should be held to a different standard. That is fully submitted to the court, fully briefed. There is a oral argument this coming Monday at 9:30 a.m. It's a virtual argument that's not open to the public, but that's happening at 9:30 a.m. And once that's complete, that case also will be entirely submitted to the court, and will be in a position to get an opinion. It won't come real soon. They typically take about 90 days to get the decision out, but that one will be fully submitted to the court. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, I
Any
have one
questions?
question. Yeah,
Yes,
Mayor,
sir.
I've got one question for the city solicitor. You referenced the holiday display policy that we enacted, I think, a couple weeks ago, which you said was effective for 2021. But it was, in fact, effective immediately when that was voted on, correct? So it does apply for
Yes.
this year as well?
It does. I misspoke. You're right. It is effective immediately.
I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to the next item is departmental reports. You'll see that Building and Licensing Department report and the Police Department reports are both embedded in the agenda. Chief, did you want to clarify anything? No? Planning Commission report is also embedded in the agenda. Planning Commission Chair Jeffrey Trunzo, I don't think is on the line. Nope. So we're not able to ask him any questions. From there, we'll go to committee reports. Start with the Boardwalk and Beach Committee. You also had a committee report embedded into the agenda. Do you want to share anything else?
No, except that at our December meeting, we're going to have a representative from Dark Skies International speak to us. And they are folks who want to reduce light pollution. And we'll see what he has to say. The public's invited. It's a virtual meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much, Commissioner LeGree. Environment Committee, Commissioner Byrne, do you want to have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. The Environment Committee has been meeting virtually on the first Friday of each month from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. This month they met just yesterday because of kind of a snafu in the scheduling. Just very briefly, because there will be future time to dialogue in detail about this, but among the many topics that were discussed yesterday was the continuing discussion over single-use plastics and a potential proposal to discuss banning some of those single-use plastics in our city. As you know, there is a state ban on plastic bags, which will go into effect on January 1st of 2021. That's for the larger retail establishments. The committee has held off moving nearly as quickly as they had anticipated moving last fall and early winter due to COVID and the impact of COVID pandemic on our local economy, and being cautious about putting additional burdensome kinds of requirements on the retail shops. And that's been done in collaboration with the Chamber, with Main Street, and looking at what other communities are doing right now. However, that discussion yesterday led to the fact that the committee is interested in kind of chunking this out and not just going kind of whole hog around single-use plastics, but in all likelihood will pull together for their December meeting a proposal around banning plastic straws in the city in favor of biodegradable straws that could be requested in restaurant establishments on request. And right now they're thinking that the discussion that they will bring to the January workshop for the commissioners and mayor will likely have a May 1 or a June 1 implementation date. And they recognize the need to go slowly on this, given the impact of COVID on the local economy. There was, prior to COVID, support from the chamber. There was a letter written last December, a joint letter from SOLA 3 and the Rehoboth Beach Homeowners Association supporting a full ban on plastics, including straws, bags, and styrofoam in our city. But again, the committee, with some restraint from me and Carol, who's and helping people understand the situation that many of our businesses are in, are trying to slow this down, but still eager to take a look at what can be done. So this will likely be a discussion at our January workshop. The other topic that received some discussion yesterday is around the committee's interest in looking at opportunities to promote pollinator-friendly gardening. And they're looking at doing that in collaboration with Rehoboth and Bloom, working with Liz Lingo, our city arborist, with SOLA 3, with the Tree Advisory Committee, which will soon have another name likely, and with master gardeners in the area. So the committee recognizes that they're not the only one with this interest, and that perhaps there could be a real collaborative effort across our city to do some good things in the future. So it's all to be continued. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Dick. With that, we'll go to the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Trees. Commissioner Gay, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, just briefly. We've had 2 virtual meetings since we started back the last month. So we've had 2 meetings now, and we've spent them really talking about our priorities for the coming year. And among them, we're already talking about plans for Arbor Day, which is April 30th, and we don't yet know what form that will take. We're going to be collaborating with the elementary school on both some art projects as well as tree planting projects, which has been tradition in the past. We just don't know if they're going to be virtual or limited attendance. There's a lot we can't plan yet, but we're looking forward to that. We're also looking at doing, we had a great experience bringing in Doug Talamay a year or so ago to speak, and it was, we'd love to have some more lectures that are that well attended, but given the times we're in and not knowing how long that will last, we're also looking at curating an educational program of online seminars and online, helpful hints for people that are looking to learn more about trees and taking care of their landscape and that kind of thing, and putting it on the city website, on our trees page on the city website. So that's another initiative. And then, most importantly, we've kicked off the 2nd year of the commemorative tree program that was launched in October last year. So we have just kicked off the 2nd year, and hope to get. We had I think about over 40 donations the first year. We're hoping to get that or more next in the coming year, and we'll be working with the city arborists to select areas of the city that will have new trees planted with those funds. And we're also looking at having a role in the Avenue Streetscape landscaping project for trees as well. That's all.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gay. With that, we'll go to our liaison reports, and the Chamber of Commerce liaison or representative.
Carol is there.
This is Carol with the Chamber of Commerce. Can you hear me, Mayor and Commissioners?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Carol. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just give you a general administrative and marketing update. Basically, the visitor's guide is currently being created. That will be completed and go to the printer within 6 weeks. So we will be asking the city if they'd like some additional information in there. We always include a few pages of rules, regulations, anything that might be known at the time we go to print. With regard to media and publication, the buys have begun. We place the ad, or we make the buys in February for any spring or summer advertising. So we're reviewing that at this point. Activities, we've distributed 25,000 door-to-door direct, they call it. It's information that directs them to a particular area on our site. In this case, we directed them both to Small Business Saturday, and we directed them to our Beach Fun and Bargains to try to encourage our surrounding zip code residents and visitors to come in over that time frame. We continue to do the weekly Association of Chambers conference call with the governor's office, and that resulted in this morning, there was a direct with the governor. Retail businesses could ask and speak directly with the governor. That went very well. Small Business Saturday, we are placing posts to social media and other information out there to encourage, keep our doors open type of thing with a sign that says open for business. That's what we're pushing for Small Business Saturday. The installation that we had planned to have in January, we have decided to postpone that until sometime early spring, I would say, or very late winter. I wanted to give you the occupancy, the year to date. Last year, on Saturday night, you would have filled 120,857 rooms, 120,857. Year to date comparison, 86,242. So that's a loss of over 34,000 rooms there. And Wednesday, not faring as bad. Year to date would have been 2019, 78,729. This year, 60,724. Still a loss of over 18,000 rooms. And lastly, Santa Station. We wanted to do a little something for the kids in town, and thought it best to use our space at 306 Rehoboth Avenue. We have an area with our decorations where we can create what we call the Santa Station, and the kids would be able to put their letters into several mailboxes we have there, as well as there's a little recording station for them. So that should be up. Our goal is to have it up before December 10th. And that is it.
Thank you, Carol. We have Commissioner Calusi, you have a comment?
I have a question of Carol. Carol, there's the number of rooms that you have are, occupancy. That's for Dewey and Rehoboth downtown and the highway, is that right?
Yes, it is. So it's 199.
I'm sorry.
It's the 19971 zip code plus, so that includes Dewey, Route 1, and downtown. I do have it separated. I do not have that information with me right now. I'm calling you off site, but I do have it separated into, I can give you percentages comparison. I can't give you, an individual business, but I can certainly give you a comparison.
Okay,
if you'd like to know.
Be helpful. I'd like to know what the downtown numbers are. So thank you. I appreciate that. You can just.
I can do that. I'll get it to you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carol. Any other questions? Thank you, Carol. We'll get back to you for other comments later in the meeting. Still on Liaison Reports, we'll go to the Rehoboth Beach Historical Society. Liaison is Commissioner Legree.
I have some great news. We all know about Paul Lovett's diorama of the golden age of Rehoboth Beach. And we've seen the videos. We have, I think, 7 videos available on the website. And they're going to open the museum and they're going to show the diorama. They're going to do it. They're going to adhere to all the guidelines of phase 2. They're going to keep social distancing. And the best way to do it is to read about it on the museum, on the website. My fingers don't cross out. It's RehobothBeachMuseum.org. And the openings are going to be the first and second weekends in December. And you're going to call up the number of the museum. You can find it on the website, or you can copy it down here and make an appointment. It's $5 for adults, and kids under 12 are free. And what their plans are is to make like a 30-minute appointment where you go in and keep social distancing, and you can see the diorama. And I'm dying to see it. I've seen the videos, but to see it in real life is going to be great. And in groups of 6 or less. So go to the website, rehobothbeachmuseum.org, look at the phone number, call up, leave your message, and somebody will get back with you, and they will arrange your appointment, and you can have a great time on the first 2 weekends in December. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner LeGree. With that, we'll go to the liaison reports for Rehoboth Beach Main Street. Ed, did you want to say something, or turn it over to Dan or Greer?
Yeah, I'll defer over to Dan Slagle, our Executive Director.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank the Mayor, the City Manager, and Commissioners for giving us this opportunity to speak. Just want to go over some items that we're working on for the end of this year, and items that we're looking forward to in 2021. We're really excited about the event we've created for Santa coming to town. It's Thursday, December 3rd, and Santa Claus is going to be riding around on a fire truck through the neighborhoods and through downtown. We're really excited about this. We want people to come downtown and dine safely and shop safely. What's nice about riding around in a fire truck, we'll have Santa waving and we're giving, candy canes, is that it won't be no parade or anything. We'll just be riding around different times around town. So we're very excited about that. And I want to thank Carol Everhart, Chamber of Commerce, for working with us on promoting this event and an email blast. So thank you, Carol, for helping us out with that. RBMS is also working on getting grants for the rental of barriers to help the businesses for next 2021 season. So we are working on that. Right now, RBMS has created a fundraiser it's a peer-to-peer through our social media to support Rehoboth in Bloom in 2021. This money will cover the cost of materials and supplies needed to help the beautification of downtown Rehoboth Beach. Also, we're working on with local photographers for creating local scenic covers, utility box covers. So we think that would be very attractive for covering up the utility boxes. Also, Main Street has forwarded the information to our members for the new round of COVID-19 relief grants from the governor. So I have sent out an email blast of, letting everyone know. Also, we are launching our RBMS email blast newsletter the first quarter of 2021. And also, we're providing promotional material for our members for Small Business Saturday. American Express has sent me lots of information and promotional material, so I'm making sure that gets out to all our merchants downtown. Also, we're utilizing our social media and our website to promote these events, upcoming events, Small Business Saturdays. RBMS is working with the SBA of Delaware to create virtual workshops for the downtown businesses for 2021. Also, we are still providing, RBMS is providing hand sanitizer for the downtown businesses and the residents. And last but not least, our total focus is promoting downtown Rehoboth, which includes the neighborhoods and businesses. Now I'm going to turn it over to.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you. This is Greer Manival. And between the holidays, one of the things that Dan as the executive director and myself would love to do with the commissioners would be to get together with you all one-on-one to be able to sit down and talk to you about and share thoughts and ideas for this next year of how we can help you, you can help us, and how we can work together to really promote downtown Rehoboth Beach, because I think that we have a tremendous opportunity, more now than ever, with the upcoming president coming in. And we want to take advantage of that and do some things that maybe we haven't focused on before. So I'll be getting in touch with all of you, and I love to do that between the holidays, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and see if we can all get together, even if it's for 5, 10, 15 minutes, just to sit down and talk with each other. We'd love to have you stop by our offices anytime, but to set up a time to get together. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Greer. Commissioner LeGree?
I'm sorry, Mayor, I just want to add one thing.
Yes, go ahead, Ed.
Thank you. I just want to add, our Santa Coming to Town event is also in coordination with the Rehoboth Beach Fire Department. And we do thank Chief Snyder and his team for that as well.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner LeGree.
Dan and Ed, is there a schedule for the fire truck with the Santa Claus coming around the neighborhood, so we could tell the parents on our street when they'd be coming by and when to bring the kids out to watch out for them?
Yes, make it my own. Yes, 4:30 to 7:30 on December 3rd. I am sending out promotional material, and we're promoting it on our social media, and there will be signage downtown.
Okay,
We're going to do a press release too from Cape Gazette.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dan.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to public comment. Is there any members of the public that want to comment on topics that have been discussed up to this point? Carol, we've done you, Dan, and Greer. Walter, do you have anything you want to add?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Rick Perry?
No, thank you, I don't.
All right, thank you very much. We'll offer you opportunity to speak again later. We'll move on to old business. We're going to consider the following actions tonight. There's actually 4 things we'll be voting on, and then there's 3 appointments that we'll be taking. I'd like to do first consider the following action of adopting a new policy for city committees, including votes on individual policy components if required. I'm hoping that's not required. I think this is gentle enough that hopefully everybody is amenable to it. If you look at your support document dated November 17th, that's the 3rd version of my recommended policies for the city committees. There's a preface in there that makes note of a committee handbook that was authored by Commissioner Gossett in past years. And there's an excerpt from the introduction there. Also, my support document identifies that there are a lot of components from the handbook in the support document, and yet I put in yellow highlight the specific new policy guidelines I would like to have adopted today. And I'd like to go through those real quick and see if anybody has any questions. The new parts of the committee policy would include the following: that a city commissioner shall chair each committee, that committees may also have a vice chair who is not an elected official if it's desired. To the committee chair responsibilities include to ensure committee membership completes annual FOIA and ethics training, and that program, as I mentioned last time, is to be determined. That committee chair is to advise the mayor and commissioners of potential future agenda topics, to provide awareness and opportunity to question or comment. Under membership appointments and in terms of office, new recommendation is that there will be advisement of nominees is to be a sufficient time in advance of any meeting to vote on appointments in order for the commissioners to review. That's just a common sense thing, but we're putting it in writing. That the voting committee members shall be comprised of residents, property owners, and business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach. We talked about this last time. and suggested that the voting membership could be separated from a non-voting membership, and that's what I've included here. Further, that the committee may include non-voting members with specialized expertise who are not residents, property owners, or business owners of the city of Rehoboth Beach. So this allows them to still maintain membership if they're already a member that lives out of town. One of the other recommendations, line 77, committees shall have an odd number of voting members, including the chair. Furthermore, line 93, committee member responsibilities added is complete annual FOIA and ethics training, again, to be determined, the exact process. The new topic is task force. The task force follows the same policies as committees with the following exceptions. Task forces are created by the mayor and commissioners and given a specific task or tasks and a time constraint. Task force members should have appropriate knowledge of the subject of the task force. Task force members may be residents, property owners, and business owners in the city, or may live or work outside the city. Task forces shall sunset after their task is completed and the findings and/or recommendations are brought forward to the mayor and commissioners. And the effective date of this policy was that it would go into effect immediately upon adoption by the mayors and commissioners. I'm open for discussion. I'm also open for a motion and a second first and then discussion, however you'd like to approach this. So the motion would be to adopt the mayor's recommendations as highlighted in the document November 17th and also as articulated during this meeting. Commissioner Byrne, you have a question? Go ahead.
Well, I do have a comment. If you want comments prior to the motion, if not, I can wait.
That's fine.
Okay, so I've talked at length about membership off and on for several months. I won't make all those comments again. That would be very redundant. I do want to thank the mayor for giving a lot of thought to this, listening to me, listening to others, hearing concerns around the city from past practices, and coming up with what I think is a reasonable compromise going forward. So I just want to say I'm supportive of this because I think it is a reasonable compromise going forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the mayor's recommendations as articulated.
So moved.
Second.
Who moved?
Commissioner Gossett.
Commissioner Gossett moved. We got a second by Commissioner Gay. Is there any additional discussion?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I think as it pertains to the voting committee members shall be comprised of residents, property owners, and business owners. And this essentially would be effective immediately. I think I'd like to understand how many people does that currently affect, and the makeup of what and what the dynamic of the makeup of those committees are.
Well, the policy goes into effect immediately, but it really applies upon appointment or reappointment of the committee members. How many would it affect? Let's use the let's use the Environment Committee as an example. It has no effect on that committee or any other. Why? Because it's still allowing members, whether they're in-town residents or out-of-town residents, to continue to be members of a committee. It's just a matter of designating whether they're able to vote or not vote on committee activities.
So, Mayor, if I can comment further, I'm not sure how much more detail Commissioner Szyrzkowski would like. In terms of the Environment Committee, and once the next couple of items are approved, once I become chair of that committee, there will be 4 in-town members and 5 out-of-town members. for a total of 9. Now, to achieve the one item that indicates that committee shall have an odd number of voting members, including the chair, then one additional in-town member will need to be added in the near future in order to achieve that. In terms of the Animal Issues Committee, there are 5 members, one is out of town.
Thank you. Commissioner, is that all right, Ed?
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Legree?
How are we going to handle businesses that are LLCs?
I don't think, I don't see it as relevant. Do they belong to a business? Do they belong to, are they affiliated with Funland? Are they affiliated with Candyland? Are they affiliated with any business? I don't know that the type of ownership has anything to do with it.
Well, I don't think the type of entity, Mayor, would have anything to do with it. I think what the plan anticipates is that so long as you have some ownership interest in the entity, then it will serve, correct?
I'm not even sure of that. You know, we've had a member on the Boardwalk committee, the original committee and the second committee, that I don't know if he was a bona fide owner, co-owner, part owner, had a percentage or not of Funland, but he was absolutely, he and his family were affiliated with Funland. So, you know, I'm not sure how critical we need to be right now.
It says business owners.
I would suggest a friendly amendment to add business owner or representative of the city of Rehoboth Beach.
Okay, all righty.
What line is that?
It would be 63.
53.
61 and
What number?
63.
Yeah, 1661.
6061, business owners or business representatives.
So if the business is an LLC and it has 30 owners, they just have to decide on a representative that they might want to bring to the, such as Funland. They just have to decide on a representative to the committee. Is that correct?
Well, sure, they would pick somebody that wants to fill out an application because there's no guarantee they're going to be selected for the committee. But it has to start with an application. All 30 of them could apply if they wanted, but most likely only one would be selected.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Commissioner Gay?
Yeah, I just got a question. I know that we talked before about, you know, minimum numbers and maximum numbers, and I understand it's not on here and we want to be flexible and all that. I get that. But I do wonder if we want to state a minimum. In my mind, 5 would be the minimum, only because the next lowest odd number is 3, and I really think that's too few. So I just didn't know if along the lines of the line in there about an odd number, if we should say of it, you know, of at least 5 members.
Personally, I think that would be fine. So far we have the following amendments. One is that in terms of voting membership composition, that it would be also including business owners, but also business representatives. And then the second amendment, if you choose to go for it, would be that voting membership is a minimum of 5 members.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, if everybody else is thinking, I mean, again, I don't have strong feelings about the maximum part of it, but I do think it'd be nice to have the minimum, especially if you're going to specify the odd number.
Yeah, I intentionally left this out, not really thinking about a minimum, but looking at, we were all over the road. Every commissioner had a different perception of, you know, it should be from 5 to 10, 5 to 12, 5 to 11. And so I left it off. So I'm amenable to that amendment if others are. Any other comments?
Yeah, I have 2 others. First of all, just a sort of a logistical thing. So next month, I've been holding off reviewing applications for new members of the tree committee because we were, you know, I didn't think we were going to do that until after these new policies were in place. So I would bring those to the December voting meeting to vote on new members. Is that right?
Most likely. I'm intending to solicit more members, putting an ad in the paper or press release, and so there might be a new set of applications to cull through. And yes, most likely the next steps are to review some of the nominations as early as the December workshop, and then vote on them as early as the December regular voting meeting.
Okay.
It all is, I think, dependent upon the chair and their ability to read through and rank who they want to be have members.
Right. Okay.
Commissioner Legree, or did you have something else?
One other thing, and it's probably outside the scope of the discussion today, but whenever we do discuss it, yeah, I am glad you added the part about the annual FOIA and ethics training, because the group membership changes all the time, and I think it's really something that everybody ought to do. But I have one idea. I know that Glenn has done that presentation live. I've been to it, I think, twice live, and I know that the slides from that presentation are available in the portal, you know, and I believe at least one of the presentations was captured on video, because it was since the video meetings started. And I guess I wondered if we could, I mean, depending on, Glenn may say that there are elements that change every year, and that's a different issue. But if the content hasn't changed, then I wondered if we could extract that presentation out of the meeting, put it with, and have that available so that people can review it on their own time, you know, self-learning kind of module, and not have to have a live meeting every year.
Well, and Susan, that's why I put to be determined. That's exactly what's being evaluated at this point. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Commissioner Legree?
I'm in favor of these additions, except that we've got to remember that the audit committee is defined in the charter as 3, and that would be a charter change, so we can just pretend like we didn't hear that or something.
Well, the introduction to this paper indicates that some of the committees and commissions, boards that are authorized by the charters are not included in this. This is, if you will, the lesser committees.
Thanks. I missed that. Forgot it. Didn't see it.
Thank you very much. So with that, I don't know where we're at. Did we have a motion on this?
Motion and a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had a motion on this. I need somebody to make the 2 amendments. One is to agree to amend to add or business representative as part of the voting membership. And number 2, that the voting membership shall be a minimum of 5 members.
You can either take that as a friendly amendment for the motioner and the seconder, or you can take motions on those amendments. So I first asked if the motioner and second would make those friendly amendments to their motion.
So we'll just make those what Glenn's calling friendly amendments to the motion, and then what do we do?
So Commissioner Gossett and Commissioner Gay, since you were the motioner and second, do both of you accept those as amendments to your motion?
Yes.
Yes, I do. But could you just be a little clarify on the language, specifically on line 77, that the committee shall have a minimum of 5 voting members, but shall maintain an odd number of voting members, including the chair?
Well, I'm not sure what you're getting at. Earlier when I was thinking about this, I thought that I had not mentioned voting members. But what is specific in here is the number of voting members. As Dick mentioned, for instance, on the Environment Committee, he's only got 4 in-town voting members. And this would help clarify that you need to have at least an odd number of voting members, including the chair. So does that clear anything up?
So it's just specifically with regards to voting members, or rather, a minimum number of committee members is 5 total. Not necessarily.
No, you have to have at least, you have to have an odd number of voting members. That means we've already talked about an amendment that says a minimum of 5 voting members. This further clarifies that your voting members have to be a minimum of 5 or an odd number, 7 or 9 or 11.
I understand that. Is that the language, though, that we want to work out the specific language in the immediate future then? But the concept is minimum of 5 voting members, correct? Maintaining an odd number of voting members on the committees?
And yes, correct.
Okay. That's fine with me as a friendly amendment.
All right, thank you very much. If there's no more discussion, we'll call a roll call vote. Excuse me. This would be to approve the mayor's recommendations as noted, including the 2 friendly amendments. Commissioner Dick Byrne,
Aye.
Commissioner Gay,
Aye.
Commissioner Gossett,
Aye.
Commissioner Shanowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Legree,
Aye.
Commissioner Calusi,
Aye.
and the mayor votes aye. The motion's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. With that, we'll go to the other following actions. I think we can go over them. Hopefully, we can go over them fairly quickly. Number 1 is to sunset the Law Oversight Committee. We talked about sunsetting it, and if we can find a chair, re-energizing it as a smaller task force. Change the title of the Parking Advisory Committee to the Parking Task Force so that we can keep it energized with perhaps the same members, but give them specific tasks and limited timeframes to act on those tasks. Change name of the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Trees to the Tree and Green Infrastructure Committee.
Mayor,
Consider the following appointments. Commissioner Pat Calusi to fill chair position of the Street and Transportation Committee and the Parking Task Force. Commissioner Richard Byrne to fill chair position of the Environment Committee, and Charlie Garlow to fill vice chair position of the Environment Committee. Is there any discussions on those? Do they want to pull any out, or can we vote on those as a slate?
It seems to me we should vote on these separately because they're all so different. Or I don't know.
Well, does anybody have any objections to ones that need to be pulled out individually?
No, I don't have objections to any of it, actually. I just didn't know whether it made a difference.
I prefer to do them all at once if there's no objection on any of those. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to go to the members of the public to see if they have any comment on any of these following actions and appointments. Carol Everhart.
No, I have no comment.
Thank you, Carol. Dan Greer.
No comments.
Walter Brittingham.
No comment.
Rick Perry.
No comment.
And Jeffrey Trundro is still not on the line. Okay, very good. With that, we will entertain a motion to, you're going to need to read each one individually in your motion and get a second. Would somebody like to try that?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to adopt a new policy for city committees, including votes on individual policy components if required. We've already
done that.
Sorry.
Already done.
Already did that. So I'll make the motion to sunset the Law Oversight Committee, to change the title of the Parking Advisory Committee to the Parking Task Force, to change the name of the Mayor's Advisory Committee on Trees to the Tree and Green Infrastructure Committee, to the following appointments would be Commissioner Pat Calusi to fill chair position of Streets and Transportation and the Parking Task Force, Commissioner Byrne to fill the chair position of the Environment Committee, and Charlie Garlow to fill the vice chair position of the Environment Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Note that the first item, adopt a new policy, was already taken care of. So what we're voting on are the other items there. We have a motion and a second to approve all those as noted. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll signify by say aye for a yes vote.
Aye.
Everybody can do it together. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? And the motion is carried, and all those are approved. Thank you very much. I put item old business C, any continued discussion of committees. I have nothing, but I put this on in case anybody wanted to say something. I still am anxious for the parking garage task force to meet again and give us a final report on whether they want to continue in force or to sunset, and catch up on minutes. So we'll get them going shortly. With that, if there's no questions, we'll go to new business. Consider proclamation of November 28, 2020 as Small Business Saturday. If you looked in the agenda, and it is a good-looking proclamation. And Patrick actually helped wordsmith some of it. I appreciate that. And I would like, Patrick, if you don't mind reading it, since you do not have a mask on, and will probably
Okay.
be more clear than I would be.
Certainly be happy to. Proclamation reads as Small Business Saturday, whereas the government of the city of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Association, there are 31.7 million small businesses in the United States that are responsible for 64.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2018. And whereas small businesses employ 58.9 million people, which make up 47.5% of today's total employees workforce, and whereas 94% of consumers in the United States value the contributions small businesses make in their community, and whereas 96% of consumers who plan to shop on Small Business Saturdays said the day inspires them to go to small, independently owned retailers or restaurants that they have not been to before or would not have otherwise tried. And whereas 92% of companies planning promotions on Small Business Saturdays said the day helps their business stand out during the busy holiday shopping season. And whereas the city of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday, now, therefore, the mayor and commissioners of the city of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, do hereby proclaim November 28, 2020 as Small Business Saturday, and hereby urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturdays and throughout the year. Signed, Stan Mills, Mayor.
This is a proclamation made on behalf of the mayor and commissioners. And so that's why I wanted to get you all to adopt it, hopefully. I think it's self-explanatory. I think we all have expressed in the past that the value of our small business community to the rest of the community. Is there any discussion or comment? If not, we'll go to the public. Carol Everhart.
Absolutely, 100% support.
Thank you, Carol. Dan or Greer?
Absolutely, our support.
Thank you very much. Walter Brittingham?
No comment.
Rick Perry? Rick must not. Rick dropped off. Very good. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adopt the proclamation. Is it adopt?
Yes.
I move to
Adopt the proclamation. Proclaiming November 28, 2020 as Small Business Saturday.
I move to adopt the proclamation of November 28, 2020 as Small Business Saturday.
Second.
Thank you. And we have a second by Commissioner Byrne. Thank you very much. With that, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? And the proclamation is adopted unanimously. Thank you very much. I'm sure Communications Department will getting a press release out very shortly. Thank you. With that, we're going to go to the second item of new business. That's to consider award of contract for fiscal year 2021 water meter replacement program, for which bids were received and opened on November 4th, 2020, and which was introduced at our last workshop, our last special meeting. With that, I'll turn it over to Sharon and Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor. This was a compilation of the bids that were received. You'll recall that we received more than the last time we bid this out, so that's good. And I'll have the Director of Public Works explain further.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Manager. As we discussed on Tuesday, we opened the bids for the this year's water meter replacement contract. Revisit again, it is the Breezewood area of our system. We had 4 bidders. Our apparent low bidder was R&C Contractors, LLC, out of Milton. And we're asking that the board approve the award of the FY21 water meter replacement contract to R&C Contractors, LLC, in the amount of $359,801.87.
Are there any further questions?
Yeah.
Question. So I know these aren't all the water meters for FY21. I assume the rest of them will be done next year. Is that the following year? Is that correct?
Well, we have about 6,000 total, and we're in the year 2 of our program to systematically replace the oldest of our system. So this is an ongoing program. We'll get another batch of probably a little more next year, depending on how the budget looks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Legree?
Yeah, I would like to ask the city manager, if we come up with another $60,000 and you, would that help you get to that 424, 999, 44? Could you do that? Is that still doable in this, under our discussion here, or is that gone?
I would recommend it at this time, Commissioner.
You would not?
Would not.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thanks, city manager.
Thank you. If there's I can't see everybody. Okay. There's no further questions. With that, I would entertain a motion to consider award of the contract in the amount of
Mayor, do you want me to make a motion?
yeah, if you would, and we need the name of the contractor inserted in there and the amount.
Mayor, I move to award the Breezewood water meter replacement project to R&C Contractors LLC in the amount of $359,801.87.
I second.
That's the correct now. And who seconded?
Jay.
Jay, thank you, Commissioner Legree. So we have a motion to approve the award of the business to R&C Contractors in the amount noted. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed, no. And the contract is awarded unanimously. Thank you very much. With that, we'll go to the next item of new business. And that is to consider award of contract for the fiscal year 2021 Delaware Avenue restroom project for the construction of additional restroom capacity, including adding stalls, family restrooms, and changing rooms, which bids were received and opened on November 10th, 2020, and was introduced at our special meeting earlier this week. Sharon and Kevin?
Thank you, Mayor. As we discussed on this past Tuesday, the low bid, actually the bids accepted were all higher. The low bid higher than what was projected. So the questions that you asked, 3 or 4 questions, we did some research, and I'll turn it over again to the Director of Public Works.
Thanks, City Manager. Just a brief recollection of the project itself, the upgrade by additional family and accessible restrooms and changing rooms. There was the compilation of our 3 bidders, with Delmarva Veteran Builders being the apparent low bidder, and our budget, $250,000, and the noted difference between the apparent low bidder and our budgeted amount. So at last meeting on Tuesday, we were asked to consider a couple of options: allocate additional funds this year and go ahead and award it. Second would be to defer the project until next year. And we were asked to get some data to analyze whether or not we could split the project into 2, basically breaking the north and south apart, doing restrooms and 1 changing room this year, and reprogramming the south half of it into another year. So some of the things we were asked to consider: 1, we worked, the architect and the builder, or the apparent low bidder, worked extensively over the last couple of days trying to figure out what his cost would, what he'd be willing to do just the north piece of if we deleted the scope on the south. As you can see, it came in higher, even that came in higher than our budget and higher than we were discussing on Tuesday. So to split and just do the north, it's still, 50,000 plus or minus above our budgeted amount. The other cost that we highlight would be if we wanted to break it apart, the second project would then have additional engineering costs of in the range of 10 to 15,000 to rescope it, to redo the drawings, to re-advertise, and the like. We'd have a second contract administration set of costs for inspection and progress meetings, pay estimates, and those kind of things. And then the contractor would see, an additional mobilization fee for his general overhead expenses in the neighborhood of 15 to 20,000. So obviously it increases cost a little considerably to break it apart. Plus we would still have to find $50,000 additional funds to be able to do just the north. Kind of using the law of percentages there, if you said you want to just do the south and just do the changing rooms, would be on the order of, it's not a straight 298 from 400, gets you to about 100,000 to do the south. It's a little higher than that, but it'd be in the 120 to 140 range to do the south as a standalone. And again, all the additional engineering costs, contract administration costs, MOPs, all that would then get added to, the north if you wanted to push the north for a year or 2. One of the other questions we were asked is, the construction duration was 140 days, so that ties us to, in order to be able to complete it for the next season, we would really need to issue NTP to the contractor by about mid-December. Gets him 140 days prior to the end of April is kind of the target we were using. And in order to do that, we would need to award it by the 1st. Now, I know that that's early the week after next, with the holiday season. So it's a little bit of time, but not a lot of time, about a week or so. Someone had asked about if we wanted to delay and add temporary facilities out there. There's some costs for what we've been able to find with respect to the porta potties, that we see, typical to what we have down at Dobell Beach, kind of a standalone, orange or whatever color unit. And then the higher end, portable trailers that you drive in, set up, hook up to the water and sewer, and just leave in place. They run about $3,000 a month per unit, and the unit would have one seater per month.
Is that, Kevin, thank you. Is that, I guess here's my thoughts. The premium and the thought of doing only the south section, splitting it in 2, offers nothing of need right now, changing rooms only. Where the need is for me is the north side with the family restrooms. The cost is exorbitant, and I think that, there's economy of cost to wait and do them all at the same time. And so, there's probably not too many people more than me or those families that need family restrooms, that want this project, but I don't think it's realistic right now. And so I'm willing to defer on it for another year, unfortunately. As far as the portable ADA compliant toilets, I haven't seen too many trailers. I guess they have a ramp to get up to them or something.
And some sit flat to the road surface.
Some sit flat. For me, a porta potty is out of the question. It's just a last resort type of thing. And our goal is to provide a family restroom that we can direct people to. If the trailer could do that, possibly. I'm still convinced that we can modify for less than $369,900 or $12,000. We can modify our hybrid restrooms at Delaware Avenue to include at least one family restroom there, or to utilize the restroom inside the First Aid Station and Beach Patrol headquarters, perhaps as a family restroom. I would bet that restroom is bigger than the restroom at Gus and Gus, where we've been directing people to use family restrooms. And so that would be my pleasure. Well, open it up to the rest of the commissioners.
This is Commissioner LeGree. I agree with you, Mayor Mills. My heart breaks, but $397,000 is just out of sight, especially in this year when we're so constrained. And I agree with Commissioner Burns from the workshop. Let's just hang in there and give it a high priority when we do the budget this coming 2021. And I agree with you. The thought of, I think we could figure out something on the portable temporary problem with family restrooms. I think we could do a little modification or at least look into it. If you rent a trailer for 3 months, that's $9,000, and that's not critical. So something may turn up that once Public Works Director Williams looks into it a little bit. But yeah, let's just let it go and go forward. Looking forward to the next budget year.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I have a question.
Commissioner Taluzzi, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So the First Aid Station, was that a suggestion of yours that perhaps that could be retrofitted to have it be a family restroom? I mean, it could.
No, I wasn't intending to spend money and retrofit it right now. I believe, from my recollection, it's bigger than the restroom at Gus and Gus. It won't fit a wheelchair in there. It will fit 2 people in there. And I think, it's better than nothing to go through the next year. Remember, this last summer, we didn't do anything extra against my wishes. And I think we need to do something. And my one idea, we have a family restroom at the convention hall, and I think that's too far away to direct people to get. And so the other alternative is to either modify the hybrid bathrooms at the Delaware Avenue restroom, or to send people up to the Baltimore Avenue Beach Patrol headquarters, where there is a bathroom that could possibly be shared there, a single-use one. Anything else, Commissioner Taluzzi?
No.
If not, Commissioner Gossett? Unmute yourself, Patrick.
Sorry about that. Mr. Williams, the bid that we have right now, 397,100. I know this is a crystal ball question, but would you feel any confidence in that similar bid coming in for work being done next year? I mean, are we unrealistic to think that would stay the same or would jump by a percentage, or any insight into that?
Well, I'll get my crystal ball out.
Well, I know, but
After I do my investing in the stock market, because I know what's going to happen. I would, typically we would just project a moderate increase, 2% or whatever, just for cost of materials and labor. But in this day and age, it's hard to predict. The good thing was that those 3 bids were fairly close when you consider it's a $400,000 project. So,
right.
That's a good part of it.
So I'm just finding $400,000 this year or $150,000 additional versus an unknown number next year of at least the engineer's bid was 362 if it was at the 400. Just a consideration thought there.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Legree?
Home Depot just had their highest quarter that they've had in a long time. And the shares are really doing well. And they attribute it to the pandemic, to COVID-19. And I think that after the pandemic is over, that things will settle down quite a bit. I don't think prices will go down, but I don't anticipate building materials to go up much more. I think Kevin's 2% is probably very, very close to what we're going to see. So that's my 2 cents on that on that item. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gay.
I agree with you about the porta potty option. That to me is not a good option, but I do wonder about the possibility of the trailer. I have seen those used at events. I'm not real familiar with them. I wondered a couple things. One, do we have room for them? And is that something worth considering in the interim? Because the cost is minimal.
I think that's something we try to give direction to the city manager and public works supervisor, and I think they're hearing our message, and we try to work out something for this coming summer.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to dismiss that entirely. I agree about the individual porta potties. I'm assuming that the trailers are a step above, that they would be a better solution than the porta potties, right?
Sorry, say that again, Susan.
I'm assuming that the trailer would be a step above the porta potty, that they would be, viable.
Oh, yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, if you look them up, they often use them for wedding parties and special events. They're very, very, very usable, yes.
Okay, well then I guess I would hope we could do something like that.
Well, unless anybody's willing to go forward, I'm willing to reject all bids, I guess, and defer on this. I'm a little selfish. I had wanted it to go on because I had wanted to do the next step, which was renovation of the Baltimore Avenue facility, including a second floor for the beach patrol. So I guess that will be on pushed back a year or two as well. So unless anybody wants to make a motion to approve the award of the contract, then your silence is going to be my signal that we're going to defer on this and not accept any bids. Is everybody fine with that?
Yes.
I'm getting shake hand. Are we okay with that, Glenn?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Our next item of business is consider and possibly vote on whether to proceed with a full appeal hearing in connection with an employee appeal requested under Section 17E of the city charter. Note that the agenda says this item may include an executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters in which the names, competency, and abilities of individual employees are discussed as permitted by 29 Del C, Section 10,004B. 9. Note that the support documents relative to this topic are embedded in the agenda. And before I turn it over to Glenn, I'd just like to make a note that this is a personnel matter. Personnel matters are typically conducted in executive session. That's why we put it in the agenda. However, an employee may request that the meeting be open to the public pursuant to 29 Del C Section 10,004B9. Captain Kent Buxton has requested that today's meeting be in an open public session, not in executive session, and consequently, today's session will be entirely open to the public. However, note that there is no opportunity for comment or participation by Captain Buxton, nor by the city manager, Sharon Lynn. And there will be no public comment by the public because of the nature of this proceeding. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Glenn for any additional ground rules.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor mentioned, you have before you, commissioners, an appeal filed by Captain Kent Buxton, who's the captain of the Rehoboth Beach Patrol. Captain Buxton has been employed as captain of the Rehoboth Beach Patrol since the summer of 2000. The position of captain is the most senior position within the Beach Patrol. At all times that he has held the position of captain, except for this past summer, Captain Buxton has been under the supervision of the city manager. Shortly after the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and the issuance of a state of emergency by Delaware Governor John Carney, the city manager delegated her supervisory duties and powers over the Rehoboth Beach Patrol to Chief Keith Banks, the chief of Rehoboth Beach Police Department. While Captain Buxton does not dispute that initial decision of the city manager, he alleges that when the beach was reopened by the governor, he should have no longer remained under the supervision of the chief of police. So on October 27, 2020, Captain Buxton filed an appeal of the decision of the city manager to have the captain of the Beach Patrol report to the chief of police. A little more background on this matter. Captain Buxton's appeal was filed, as the mayor said, under Section 17E of the city charter. That section provides, in part, that, this is a quote, "The commissioners of the city of Rehoboth Beach shall sit as a board of appeal for the protection of city employees at those times when the majority of all the commissioners are agreed that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach." So consequently, I see it as Section 17E establishing a two-step process for addressing this sort of an appeal. The first step is merely a determination of whether a majority of the commissioners, whether a majority of the voting members today are agreed that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach. If that question is answered in the affirmative, then a second meeting would be scheduled to conduct a full appeal hearing on the merits of the appeal. So be clear, today's purpose is only for the first step, which is a determination by the commissioners if a majority of you feel that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach. As the mayor said, Captain Buxton did elect that this be in an open public session rather than in an executive session, and that's why we are properly in public session today on this personnel matter. So with that, I will ask you to stay focused on just that first question and not to get into the merits of the appeal, but merely of whether you believe this is an issue that the commissioners should take up because it's in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach to take it up. With that, Mr. Mayor, you can entertain discussion with the commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, this is our opportunity for commissioner discussion. Being mindful that what we're looking to culminate in is a motion that we are agreed that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth. I put that in the affirmative. That's what we'll culminate in, a vote that we are agreed that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach. With that, I'll open it up for discussion. Somebody's got to say something.
Should just,
right now we're in the under the state of emergency of the COVID. We've been there since March, throughout the summer and including now. How I view this is that there's no dispute right now that under the emergency conditions, the Rehoboth Beach Patrol captain is under control of can be under control of the police department. In my view, what this is asking is something about the future that hadn't happened yet. And I have a hard time doing that because anything could happen between now and the time when the state of emergency is lifted and the city manager decides to continue with the beach patrol under the auspices of the police department or back under the supervisory position of the city manager. So again, I'm looking at this as this is, to me, is not the right time to be able to conduct an appeal. That appropriate time is when the state of emergency is lifted and the city manager chooses to continue perhaps to require that the beach patrol be under the auspices of the police department. Commissioner Srnowski?
Yeah, Mayor, I was just gonna say it's without hearing the merits, it's really difficult to understand if it is in the best interest of Rehoboth Beach or not to hear the to consider the appeal. So I think in that terms, it just kind of makes it difficult to make that decision. Looking at that fact without thinking about the merits at all, because it's the merits that would really determine whether it's in the best interest of Rehoboth or not. So I find that difficult to weigh. Glenn, do you have any advice on that or comments?
Yeah, I understand why you're struggling, Commissioner, because it is an odd provision in some respects. I haven't seen it very often. I mean, certainly if somebody came in with if an employee filed an appeal that was clearly and undisputedly frivolous in nature, then you all would not, in my view, it would not be worth the valuable time of the commissioners to take that opportunity to hear it on the merits. If it was something that was very clearly identified as just a frivolous appeal, that's the easy case. That's the very easy case. Here, there may be other reasons that you don't think it's appropriate to move this to a hearing, or as you say that it's maybe worth taking it to a hearing simply to understand the merits to decide whether it's in the best interest. So I can't offer much because I haven't seen this sort of a provision applied in other jurisdictions.
Thank you. Anything else, Commissioner?
No.
If not, we'll go to Commissioner Legree.
I agree, Mayor. As long as we're in a state of emergency, and some states are going deeper into an emergency as we speak. Thus far, Delaware has been spared. But as long as we're in a state of emergency, I don't think we're ready to know whether the final action has taken place yet or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gossett?
Yes, I look at this honestly as a process issue, as not looking at the merits of this at this point. That's not what we're charged in a most recent action that the commissioners also took. And looking at the process that's outlined in the charter, it talks about being under a state of emergency. And because the governor has not terminated that state of emergency, I don't think there is any action to be taken because we are still under that state of emergency. And the action that was taken by the city manager is in accordance with the charter as it reads. And on a second, again, process issue on that, our beach patrol, as many other employees of the city, are seasonal employees. And based on that fact, the beach patrol is currently not an employee of the city. Their term of employment on a seasonal employee runs from April until October. So the month of November, December, January, February, March, they are not employees of the city. So again, I look at this more currently as a process issue, and being in that manner, I don't feel it's in the best interest of the city to bring this forward.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Calusi?
Yes, that's actually follow on with Commissioner Gossett's question. The the captain, his contract, if you will, or his employment contract is from April through October. Is that true? Is that how it's?
My understanding is that seasonal employees remain on the payroll through October, and then their employment with the city ends.
Okay, so we have a new contract with Captain Buxton. Potentially, we have had a new contract with him every year since 2000. So I think.
So there's not, my understanding is that there's not a contract, but he is employed by the city during that term.
Rehired, so to speak.
Right, right.
So I would agree with Commissioner Gossett that for us to entertain this at this time does not make sense. Perhaps when the time more appropriate would be March or April timeframe prior to his joining the city and being employed by the city again.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Byrne?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I certainly agree with the comments you made earlier, and I agree with Commissioner Gossett's comments that this is a process issue. I don't see that there's a dispute right now when we're under a state of emergency, and I don't believe it'd be in the best interests of the city to take this any further at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gay?
Yeah, first of all, I agree with the statements that have been made by others about the state of emergency we're in, but I also appreciate Commissioner Gossett reminding us about the employment period, because given that, I mean, he's technically not a current employee anyway, and won't be until next April. So I'm not even sure we should consider it in the spring. I don't, I think we can't consider it until the person is an employee, an actual employee again.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sernowski?
Yeah, is it, I guess is it fair to ask the city manager a question?
No, it's not. No.
Then, I struggle a little bit with I guess not hearing it and giving an opportunity for employees to be heard when they have an issue, whether it's current or future. And I believe that the reason why this has come before us is because it was a conversation had, as we received in correspondence, about permanently going forward a change in structure. Whether we agree with that or not, employee or future employee has a concern about that. I don't think there's any value in waiting until they're rehired in April to deal with an issue that could be dealt with beforehand. So that's where I struggle a little bit with this one.
Thank you very much.
Can I perhaps offer?
Yes, sir.
Response? So in response to the commissioner's comments, so a few additional things I can add. So the appeal was filed October 27th. At that time, Captain Buxton would have been at least still on the payroll of the city. So whether that has relevance to your determination or not, the appeal was filed within the employment term. A few of you have mentioned the state of emergency. I just want to be clear for anybody who's listening that the reason that seems to have relevance is that the charter allows for the beach patrol to be under the police department during states of emergency, which we are currently in. So I think that the theme is among some of your comments that because we're still in a state of emergency and because Captain Buxton mentioned in his commentary that he agreed with that initial determination of the city manager that the beach patrol could be under the police department during a state of emergency, there's no real case for controversy right now because we're still in the state of emergency. So I can offer those two things. The last I would offer is that to the extent you want to make a decision, but you feel as though there's no real case for controversy right now, but as the commissioner mentioned, there's an anticipation that that arrangement in the summer of 2021 will occur as it did in the summer of 2020. There's nothing that prohibits you from issuing an advisory opinion that basically says, we don't think this is the right time to answer this question on the merits, but if it were to occur in 2021, here's our advisory opinion as to how we think we would decide this. So most judges wouldn't issue an advisory opinion, and you're sitting as an adjudicatory body right now, but there's nothing that prohibits you as an adjudicatory body from issuing an advisory opinion, for whatever that's worth.
Again, I would rather take it up at the appropriate time when there is an alleged violation, rather than seeking an advisory opinion today. I think that muddies it a little bit. Commissioner Srnowski?
Yeah, I'll just end with, again, I'm still unsure about this, my own thoughts, but I mean, the state of emergency is really a technicality here. The beach patrol was really only put under the chief when we were about to have beach patrol lifeguards hired, but the beaches were closed, and we had a face mask enforcement lacking, so that those staff members their purpose could be repurposed under a state of emergency. That never happened because the beach opened a week later. The whole point of switching things under a state of emergency is to repurpose employees to do other things that they're otherwise not supposed to be doing. For instance, help with face mask enforcement around town when the beaches were empty and people weren't allowed on them. So I'm looking at the practical fact of the state of emergency and how it's used here as a technicality. And I am having trouble reconciling that too.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Again, I come back to the aspect of addressing the merits versus what we are looking at today. And again, I understand about going forward with the process, but I just believe that trying to interpret the process as is outlined in the charter, that is our charge today. And I mean, you can kind of work through the charter and interpret it in different ways anybody could, but I think that the charge today is to look at you know, would be in the best interest of the city to carry this forward. And I just think the way that the charter is interpreted, that it would not be in the best interest right now. Now, perhaps at some point in the future, that needs to be addressed, but the information and the facts that we have before us today, I just feel that this was not be a way to go forward. And Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Just as a reminder that to get to the appeal process, it's a two-step process that we've been talking about. The first step is that we have to believe that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city. And if that carries through, then we go to step two, which is the appeal hearing itself. I happen to be in agreement with, of course, everything I said earlier, as well as the comments of Commissioner Gossett and the others that referred to process. This isn't anything against Captain Buxton. I just think the timing is off, and that we're being asked to rule on something that's in the future that has not yet happened, and there would be a time and a place to then appropriately file an appeal if aggrieved at that time. With that, I'd entertain a motion. It could be, if you wanted advisory opinion, you could go that route. I'm suggesting that be much simpler, and that we entertain a motion to, again, put in the affirmative, review, let's see, move to approve that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
I would like to make a motion that a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach as it pertains to the issue before us.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve a review of the action of the city manager would be in the best interest of the city of Rehoboth Beach. That the motion was made by Commissioner Gossett and seconded by Commissioner Susan Gay. Is there any further discussion?
Just to say that a yes vote then would be to proceed to an appeal hearing. A no vote would be to reject the appeal.
All right, we're going to do a roll call vote. Commissioner Susan Gay?
No. Do we have to state reasons?
No.
No.
Okay.
Commissioner Gossett?
No.
Commissioner Sernowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Legree?
No.
Commissioner Taluzzi?
No.
Commissioner Richard Byrne?
No.
And the mayor votes no, and the motion does not carry. Therefore, the appeal does not carry at this time. Glenn, do you want to say anything else?
That just concludes that the matter is dismissed and it's no longer pending before you.
Thank you very much, everybody. With that, we'll go to our next bit of business is commissioner announcements and comments. As mayor, I get to be handed off all the media inquiries. And it's been a busy week with Biden having come here. So I did Fox 5 DC as well as all the local news channels, including Associated Press and Wall Street Journal. So that, just so you know, that's a little extra challenge, responsibility that the mayor has. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Gay?
Well, first of all, I think it's great that we've been in the limelight. It's been interesting to watch. So glad you mentioned that. I just want to, since we're not going to be meeting again until after Thanksgiving, we're not having our meeting next Tuesday. I just wanted to wish everyone a healthy and happy Thanksgiving. Tell anyone who's watching to go look at our beautiful tree that I understand is getting decorated today, and then compare it to a photograph online of the one at Rockefeller Center, and you'll see ours is so much better. So we've got the tree this year, I think.
Thank you. Commissioner Gossett?
Yes, I just want to offer my public congratulations to the newly elected officers of the Planning Commission, the Secretary of Lee Weber, Vice Chair of Brian Patterson, and Chair of Jeffrey Chunzo. I really appreciate the work of the entire Planning Commission, and they do, but the added work of the officers, having served in one of those positions previously, I know can take on a lot of additional responsibilities. So I just want to congratulate them and look forward to their success in the coming year.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sernowski?
Yes, Mayor. In the past week or two, there's been a few incidents that happen involving hate in the Rehoboth and surrounding communities. And there was a nonprofit organization that is doing a virtual event titled Hate Has No Home Here, which is this Saturday, November 21st, from 1 to 2. And our community members can register to participate in that at nohome.eventbrite.com. Thank you.
Can you spell that, please?
No home, NOHOME.eventbrite.com.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed. Any other comments? If not, we'll go to review future meeting. We'll review future meeting dates. We've got a very busy schedule for the next 3 months. preparing, planning for budget hearings coming up. Our next meeting is December 1st, which is a Tuesday, at 3 o'clock at one of our special COVID meetings, anticipating discussion of additional business incentives to get them through COVID, and an introduction, hopefully, for post-pandemic alternative dining situations. Excuse me. After that, December 2nd is our normal 9 o'clock workshop meeting. December 18th in the afternoon, 2 o'clock is our regular meeting. However, I've scheduled a special pre-budget meeting the morning of December 18th so that we can start talking about some capital projects so that that take a little time to explain, so that we'll have some background information before we get to the first budget meeting in January. So those are just a couple of the meetings coming up. Commissioner Cluzy?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I got an email from you about 15 minutes before this meeting started, so I wasn't able to answer it, but I'll answer it now. Or you can go ahead as far as the ride free fee to be a part of the 18th, the meeting of the 18th.
Yeah. Thank you very much. She was trying to give herself an extra plug, I think. Thank you very much. Good job. Anything else? Those are the future meeting dates. With that, we'll go one more time to citizen comment. Carol Everhart, do you have any additional comments?
Just wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Carol. Dan or Greer?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you. You too. Walter Brittingham?
Thank you. I have a question / statement about the water meter contract, and in the documentation there was not enough information there to try to read any part of the bid documents. So I'd like to know what happens to the disposition of the removed old meters, and are they held or do they become property of the contractor? Because I would think that they would remain the property of the city in case any of those people had a question about their water bill through their last reading. Does the city have a way of securing those readings or securing those meters to know what the last readings were if they had a question about it? And then the other, because secondarily, they also have a value as scrap. So what happens to that? And I don't expect an answer this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The city does get the meters back.
Thank you, Kevin.
The old meters.
Thank you, Walter. Rick Perry, anything further? He dropped off and Jeff Trunzo's crossed off. If there's no further comment, I want to thank you all. Have a good Thanksgiving. And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.